sick.
There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
We won't be out long.
Take your time. Track's all yours.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready. Hit it. Attaboy.
Let me drive. I won't make a fool out of you.
I got a message for all of them. Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
That just happened.
These cars, you sit in a box, a coffin, gasoline all around you. It is like being inside a bomb.
It's tough enough being a girl on the track. Living in my dad's shadow doesn't help much.
You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you.
No race was ever won in the first corner.
I'm gonna give you an engine low to the ground, extra big oil pan that'll cut the wind from underneath you. That'll give you 30 to 40 more horsepower.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
Brakes are warm. Tires are warm.
I'll work in the cars and I'll drive and I'll eat and sleep and I'll work in the cars and I'll drive.
Damn fast, and when we run so close together, it requires fantastic concentration and rather special skills.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is.
Besides, the best drivers don't dwell on the future or the past. The best drivers focus only on the present.
They could never have imagined it. Those pioneers who invented the automobile, that it would possess us like this in our imaginations, our dreams.
I'm gonna give you a fuel line that will hold an extra gallon of gas. I'm gonna shave half an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
Racing is in my blood.
I was put on this earth to race cars.
I accept every time I get in my car. There's 20% chance I could die, and I can live with it, but not 1% more.
No, Nicky, don't bring the percentages into this. Don't be a pro. The minute you do that, you kill what's good about this. You kill the sport.
And at that speed, your reactions can barely keep up with these sudden changes in direction.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up?
You want me to work the pit and you drive? Fine, we'll try that.
The car's a living, breathing thing, and she's alive.
If any of us imagined, really imagined, what it would be like to go into a tree at 150 miles an hour, we would probably never get into the cars at all. None of us.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
I am just as good as anybody out there on that track, and I don't need anybody to win my races for me.
I wish my daddy were alive to see this, to feel this.
And when we get you primed, painted, and weighed, you'll be ready to go out on that racetrack. You hear me? You're gonna be perfect.
You don't understand what happens, do you? They make 10,000 cars, they make them exactly the same way, and one or two of them turn out to be something special. Nobody knows why.
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
So it has always seemed to me that to do something very dangerous requires a certain absence of imagination.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated by the hands of somebody who is truly better than you.
The only thing to do here is to drive just as fast as you know how and hope your car doesn't break.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
If you ain't first, you're last. There's 40 other vultures out there who managed to finish the race on their tires. You see Darrell Waltrip using up his tires?
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
I mean, hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
Sometimes you could swear the whole thing's falling to bits.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
On the other hand, I suppose potential problems are in the back of your mind all the time.
So in many ways, I feel responsible for what happened. And
You were, but trust me, watching you win those races while I was fighting for my life, you were equally responsible for getting me back in the car.
You're so lucky. You sit there all closed in by machinery and bolts, precise things. There's hardly any room for you. It must be a nice, safe feeling.
You gotta learn to trust something. Might just as well be the seat of your pants.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Well, we can drive. We can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But it isn't just business, is it?
what we do. It's passion, love, which is why we are prepared to risk our lives for it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Why does everybody keep telling me what my problem is?
That you get so emotional.
You would never, ever say that to a guy.
If you don't leave your feelings off the track, you're never going to get what you want.
I'm a race driver, and I can win it on my own. Please let me race.
Fine. Then let's race.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and once again, welcome back to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we are bringing you the Hockenheim Grand Prix. We are back at the German track for a blast through the forest on the old layout of this Hockenheim ring, and we are really excited to see how this race goes. Power, of course, will play a big part in this race, but also the question of reliability still hangs over all of the teams, especially after the last upgrade window. The teams have put their money into upgrading their power, into upgrading their reliability, and we will now see how that has affected the pecking order as we get ourselves well and truly into the second half of this season. But first of all, a major announcement to bring you for the Grand Prix World Series, and that is the introduction of the Macau Grand Prix. The first ever Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix will take place at the end of this season, and how it will work is the top 13 teams across both divisions of this season's Grand Prix World Series will qualify for the race, and then heading into the race itself, all of the power and all of the reliability will be equalised so that every team has an equal opportunity to fight for glory in what will be a non-championship race, but it will be the prestige Grand Prix of the season, a sort of end-of-season party, if you like, as they blast around the streets of Macau for all-out glory heading into Season 4. Now, when the Macau Grand Prix comes around, each team that qualifies will be allowed to choose from their allocation of drivers as to who will race in the prestige event. They will be able to race their 2 regular race drivers if they wish, or they could put in a reserve driver if they want to. It's completely up to them who they decide to field at the event, but it's the top 13 teams across both divisions that will qualify for the main event. A bit of extra incentive for those midfield teams to go and pick up some extra points in the remaining few races of Season 3. So we have that to look forward to at the end of the season, but for today we are looking ahead to the Hockenheim Grand Prix, and once again we're going to start off with the League 2 event, and heading into this one it is Marcus Ericsson who leads the standings on 103 points, the first driver in League 2 this season to break into triple digits, ahead of his teammate Pascal Wehrlein on 91. Brendan Hartley still third place overall on 85 points, ahead of Tatiana Calderon on 80. Those 4 are the main 4 fighting for the championship at the moment. Alexander Rossi not won a race this season, but consistently scoring points to put his LaRousse 5th in the standings overall. 1 point ahead of Jack Aiken in the Force India. And Mick Schumacher, having joined the championship late, is making his way up through the order. Now on 52 points in the Mars Lola, lying in 7th at the moment. Where will he be after today's home Grand Prix for the German? Kimi Sato, the winner in Fuji, is 8th in the championship on 49, 1 ahead of Lucas de Grassi in the Zaxpin of 48, and Takuma Sato puts both of the Domes in the top 10 on 40 points. In the team standings heading into this one, Von Mattel absolutely dominating the season at the moment on 194 points. Mastercard Lola playing a bit of catch-up at the moment on 142, a couple of race wins away from the Von Mattel team, but they will be doing everything they can to close that gap in the last few races of the season. Pacific Grand Prix still just about clinging on to third place at the moment and in line for that promotion into League 1 for Season 4, but Dome on 89 points in 4th will be doing everything they can to overhaul Pacific and get that promotion for themselves. Zakspeed also there or thereabouts on 85 points in 5th. Force India are in 6th on 71, Larus on 60, Andrea Moda on 59, Ram Racing on 40, and Scuderia Coloni on 39. That is your top 10 in the League 2 team standings. Now, as far as qualifying is concerned for today's League 2 Hockenheim Grand Prix, the home fans will certainly be happy with this one. Mick Schumacher and Pascal Wehrlein make it an all-German front row for Lola and von Mittal. Marcus Ericsson, our championship leader, is third ahead of Tatiana Calderon, who makes sure that both Mastercard Lolas are in the top 4. Gary Paffett and Alan McNish doing a fine job for Ram Racing to go 5th and 6th to lock out the third row. Jaime Alguersuari having a much better qualifying session than he has done in previous races. 7th in the Scuderia Coloni, ahead of Takuma Sato, 8th in the Dome. Raffaele Marcello, 9th in the Force India, and Lucas Di Grassi, 10th in the Zakspeed. The Zakspeed team enjoying their home Grand Prix today. Sergio Sette Camara, 11th in the Pacific, ahead of Kimi Sato in the Dome. Jack Aitken, 13th for Force India, ahead of Christian Lundgaard in the Coloni. Alexander Rossi and Callum Eilert are 15th and 16th for Larus, ahead of Dan Tickton, the leading Real here today, also the team's home Grand Prix today. Oliver Rowland, a bit of a disappointing qualifying session for him in 18th. Mirko Bortolotti in the Dams Violent is 19th, ahead of Jake Dennis in the Andrea Moda in 20th. 21st, Brendan Harley. Another disappointing qualifying session for the Kiwi. He really needs to sort out these qualifying sessions if he's going to get himself back into his championship fight. Mike Conway, 22nd in the Real, ahead of Nelson Piquet Jr., Andre Lotterer, Fabio Lima and Luciano Becchetta, the two Carlins, rounding out the grid for today. Well, to take you through the action, we're going to head down to the commentary box where Tom Cairns is ready and waiting.
Mick Schumacher on pole on home turf. Can he convert it into another victory and throw himself into League 2 Championship contention? Pascal Wehrlein, his compatriot, is alongside, and the drivers are on the grid now, ready to go for the start of this race. The 5 lights are out, and away we go! Schumacher leads then ahead of Wehrlein as they come towards turn number 1. Schumacher got the better of the two starters, but he leads straight out of the blocks, out of the first turn and into the lead with Wehrlein in second place. We've got Marcus Ericsson in third, ahead of Tatiana Calderon, Gary Paffett and Alan McNish as they come down the first of the back straights before we get to the first of the chicanes, which is the Clark Curve. What a start for Mick Schumacher in the Mastercard Lola. Great start from him. And now we watch the grid make their way through. Oh, there's contact behind. Quite a concertina collision there. Couldn't quite tell who that was. We were right on board with the Zakspeed of Oliver Rowland, who was going through the chicane. He got hit from behind by who, though? That's the question we want to get the answer for. And it's Nelson Piquet that ran into the back of the Real in front there, and he's lost his front and rear wings. So I want to know who actually caused that behind. It must have been someone behind Piquet. Now, was it a Carlin that ran to the back of him? Both of the Carlins were behind Nelson Piquet Jr. going into the first chicane. No, I think Piquet kick-started all that. I think Piquet had started it all off. So we may need to get another onboard view unless we cut away from that now. But we'll wait and see what the stewards say on that. And it's gone down as a racing incident. No further action is going to be taken. And now we are seeing the dome that looks like Kimi Sato, I believe, that's just getting through on Jaime Alguersuari there into the OS curve, and through into 8th place he goes. Mick Schumacher leads then by nearly 2 seconds over Marcus Ericsson in the von Mittal. We've got Tatiana Calderon is now ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. So Wehrlein is down 2 positions from his starting position as we watch the Rams go toe-to-toe. That's Paffett getting through on McNish. And then behind the 2 Rams are the 2 domes, the 2 Satos of Takuma and Kamiya. Now we are seeing almost a 3-car battle going into the stadium section there, and it nearly ended in tears, but thankfully it didn't. There was 2 side-by-side actions going on there. As Schumacher comes out of the last turn now. Can the Mastercard Lola retain its reliability all the way through? They are chasing von Mittal, but they are sitting rather comfortably in the promotion places as we speak. And we are riding on board with the dome of Kamiya Sato, who's just about to be overtaken by Jaime Alguersuari on the first of the back straights, coming out of turn 1. And that's Rafael Marciello, I think, actually getting through on Alguersuari. He may be able to get through on... As we watch Jake Dennis, we've just seen a replay. Oh, that's a big stunt there for the Brit. So the Andrea Moda driver is off into the barrier and he is out of the race. And there's another retirement there for him. He's actually gone on quite a run, actually, of classified finishes as Dennis before today, but that accident there brings an end to just that. So Schumacher there, coming through, and Nelson Piquet Jr. will have come into the pits at the end of lap 1 for repairs, and Brendan Hartley's just lost out there to the one of the Carlins. I think that might have been Luciano Piquet who's got through. That's Andre Lotterer who's got through at the Os curve, and he actually gets hit from behind by the Carlin. That is Piquet, and Hartley's dropped back from him, and we're about to see confirmation from the stewards what the penalty is going to be. It's a 10-second time penalty for Luciano Piquet for causing the collision and gaining the position as a consequence. So far, so good then for Mastercard Lola and Von Mattel. Looking very, very good for promotion this season. Von Mattel, who have finished on the podium in each of the last 7 races, which is an all-time record for a single team in the Grand Prix World Series. Mick Schumacher posting a new fastest up of the race. Marcus Ericsson in second, chasing him down all the time. As we watch Oliver Rowland come through the penultimate turn there. Don't know if he was carrying an issue for a moment, but it seems to have rectified itself now. We're on lap 3. Schumacher continuing to lead out in front. Marcus Ericsson is second, ahead of Tatiana Calderon third, and it's Pascal Wehrlein, Gary Puffer, Alan McNish, Takuma Sato, Kimi Sato, Jaime Alguersuari, and Rafael Marciello in the top 10. Coming into this round, Marcus Ericsson came into this 12 points clear at the top as we watch Marciello make a move on Alguersuari into the Os curve. And that's enough to move the Force India up into 9th place. Now Mick Schumacher arrived into this round with 52 points. He's got another one because of the pole position. He's got the fastest up as we speak, and he's in the race lead right now. Should he collect the maximum, he would go on to 79 points. He would go in front of Jack Aiken and Alexander Rossi, who is down in 14th place as we speak. He'll just be behind Tatiana Calderon in the championship standings. It looks like Mick Schumacher could well be in contention for the championship in League 2, with 6 rounds to go after this. And another new fast up has been posted by Mick Schumacher as they begin lap 4. After Hockenheim, we go to Pannonia in Hungary, Valencia in Spain, and it's off to South America. Buenos Aires, Argentina, Curitiba, Brazil, San Carlos, Venezuela, and the 16th and final round will be at Laguna Seca, California, USA. And after the season's finished, the Grand Prix World Series will host its first Macau Grand Prix event, which should be very exciting, and it'll involve the top 13 teams across the 2 leagues of this season in terms of points. Certainly going to be a very exciting occasion. Now, that won't count towards the championship. It is a non-championship event. It's a good way of winding down the curtain for the season. We're on lap 4. Now, last season in League 2 in Hockenheim, 22 drivers finished the race, which at the time set a new record for the Grand Prix World Series before Istanbul had exceeded that total in this campaign. We've had 1 retirement so far already. Jake Dennis crashing out on the second lap at turn 1 all by himself. No one else was involved. Nelson Piquet Jr. at the back in 25th place in the Dans Vaillant. It's his second race for the team since he and Mirko Bortolotti were drafted in following the mid-season test at Dijon-Bourgogne in place of Théo Pourchaire and Simona Di Silvestro. There is Ericsson in P2 as it stands. He'll go on to 121 points. He'll distance himself further clear of his teammate Pascal Wehrlein. Brendan Hartley's at the back at the moment. He's nowhere near the points, and Calderon is running in 3rd place. She would move ahead of him. As we watch Callum Ilott, who's running in 16th position. Now they come towards the chicane. And Ilott is able to keep his nose in front of what is the Real, behind him, which is Dan Titson, who came very close to scoring Real's best result of the season until Mechanical Gremlins had caught up with him. And in fact, he's pulled off a double overtake on Callum Ilott and Lucas Di Grassi to put himself up into 15th place. That's nice driving there from Dan Titson. Real going into this round with just 2 points on the board all season. Now behind Dams Viant, who are a long way ahead of him on 18 points. And following their podium finish in Brands Hatch, Ram Racing have gone up the order a couple of places. They are in 9th at the moment, and with the way Parfait and Nish are performing in this one, they could leapfrog ahead of Andrea Moda and LaRousse. Could there be a late push for Ross McGregor's Ram Racing team in their debut season in the Grand Prix World Series? Looking at Mick Schumacher right now, who... Sorry, that's not Mick Schumacher, that was Tatiana Calderon we were looking at. This is Mick Schumacher, who's just coming out of the S-curve, 2.3 seconds ahead of Marcus Ericsson. The question is, what fuel strategy are they looking to do? Now, it's a long circuit, is this old configuration of Hockenheim. It's just under 7 kilometres long. As we watch Dan Titson trying to fend off the sack speed of Lucas Di Grassi. He's chasing after Christian Lundgaard as we speak. There is Mick, continuing on his way. We're on lap 6, coming towards the end of lap 6. Now the team managers have just had the latest upgrade window. They have upgraded their machines in terms of the reliability and brake horsepower. How much of an effect will it have for the next few rounds before the next upgrade window opens after round 12, which is in Valencia? And it looks like Takuma Sato is in the pits at the end of lap 6. That's very early to make a pit stop. Is Takuma carrying an issue? It's difficult to say, but he's dropped down the order and he'll head to the back of the pack. He may be able to set a new fastest lap or something, Takuma, whilst he's on the fresher rubber. That may affect his race in the long term. Now Dome, who haven't been in the best of form in recent races, they did get points last time out in Brands Hatch. A 7th place finish coming in the hands of Takuma Sato. Kamiya Sato finished in 13th. And as it stands with where they are in the Teams Championship, they are 4th on 89 points, 12 behind 3rd place Pacific. But they're a long way off Mastercard Lola and Fomitel, who look destined for promotion to League One for next season. Here's Titson with that black and white checkered helmet of his. And he's made up another position there. He's gone through on what looks like Alexander Rossi for 14th position. No, it's Lucas Di Grassi again, I should say. So I think Di Grassi may have got ahead of Titson for a moment, and then Titson was able to take the place back. And we are seeing Andre Lotterer trying to get through on Oliver Rowland into the Agip corner. And no change for position there. It's definitely a circuit that you can get overtakes completed on. is this old configuration of Hockenheim, which was around until 2001, before Hermann Tilke had designed a new layout for the following year, which has been used ever since. Formula 1 hasn't raced in Hockenheim since 2019. I'm sure the German fans would love a German Grand Prix back there soon, but Formula 1 just doesn't seem to be interested enough in wanting to do that at this moment in time. Rafael Marcello getting through on Kamir Sato, I believe that was, and he's in 8th place now. Kamir Sato down to 9th. Jack Aiken in the second Force India is in 10th place. As we watch Fabio Lima go for a move on Brendan Hartley, and that's for 21st place. So that's a neat overtake there from Fabio Lima. Takuma Sato's not too far behind those two. We see a move from Lucas Di Grassi on Christian Lundgaard, and 13th position is his. Lucas Di Grassi, who's been under pressure to perform. He came close to being dropped by team manager Mike Smith within the Sack Speed team before the Misano round, and in response he actually finished on the podium with a 2nd place finish, but he hasn't finished in the points since then. He's running in 13th now, but he's still got some work to do between now and the end of the race if he wants to keep Sack Speed's hopes of promotion to League One alive. There's no change at the front. We are not too far away from pit stops. We are on lap 9. It's a 34 lap race, 75% of what would be a Grand Prix distance of this circuit. We see a move on that will be Dan Tixham on Christian Lundgaard for 14th place, and it looks like Callum Ilott was trying to get through at the same time, but to no avail. We see a move there from Ilott on the inside of Lundgaard into the S-curve, and it's a change of position, and he's through no problem. There is Calderon, who picked up her first non-finish of the season last time out in Brands Hatch after she caught the curve at Paddock Hill Bend, which had thrown her off the circuit. And Ericsson's in the pits at the end of lap number 9. Now, is that a scheduled change of tyres? I think it must be. He was running in 2nd place before he darted into the pit lane, did the Swede. Where is he looking to filter back out? You want at least 30 seconds for a pit stop here on this circuit, although Ericsson may get out in front of Alguersuari. He's just been overtaken by Marcello, but Alguersuari is in front of Ericsson, but Ericsson will be on the fresher tyres and will easily go back in front. I think Alguersuari may be carrying an issue here because he's allowed Ericsson and Kamir Sato to go through rather easily. Now, if Alguersuari is carrying an issue, that's a terrible shame because he was running up in the points before that issue, and it looks like he's going to be out of this race because he's pulling to the side on the exit of the Clark curve, and Jaime Alguersuari's German Grand Prix, or Hockenheim Grand Prix I should say, is about to come to a close. What a shame there for the Coloni team. And he's about to pull to the side any moment now. He's way off the racing line, but he just needs to be wary of other cars coming through. And he's out of the race. Alguersuari becomes the 2nd retirement here in Hockenheim. It's an electrical problem for the Spaniard. His teammate Christian Lundgaard going up a position into 15th. And there we can see Mick Schumacher leading Tatiana Conway. So Marscod 1 and 2 on track, but neither of these two have pitted yet. And we can see a move from Brendan Hartley on the inside of Mike Conway, and that's enough to move the Kiwi up into 18th. Coming through the quick chicane before the end of the lap. Now, Hartley's teammate Sergio Sette Camera is currently in the points. As we can see, Marcello, who's just in front of Ericsson in the... Oh, and that's Ericsson pulling off! Ericsson's got a problem, and he's out! And it's a loose wheel for the Swede. Shortly after his pit stop, Marcus Ericsson, in the Fonmetal, retires. On lap 11. He'll have to hope the same doesn't strike his teammate Pascal Wehrlein, who's still going in third place. But Ericsson, who was looking good for another podium today, who won last summer in Brands Hatch, the championship leader in League 2, is out of the Hockenheim Grand Prix. And Mick Schumacher and Marcel Lola will be very pleased to see that. And it's a good opportunity. Oh, and that's Piquet running wide at the Clark curve. Spins the car around and want to rejoin safely though, will the Brazilian. He's got the car turned around now. And he's out and he's on his way again. Just looking at a replay of his spin there. Yeah. There's no other cars around him, so he'll be able to rejoin safely. Cost Piquet Jr. even more time. He's had a day to forget already. He's been in the pits at the end of lap 1 for a new front wing and rear wing. And it hasn't got any better for him here. So this is actually good news for Marcel Lola in the Teams Championship. Definitely safe for Pacific, Sac Speed and Dome. There's a long way to go yet in this race. Von Mattel's run of 7 races on the podium is under threat here. Wehrlein is running in 3rd place, and he'll hope to just get to the checkered flag, if I'm honest with you. There's no way he'll catch Mick Schumacher, I would have thought. And the Schumacher is on a different strategy to what Wehrlein is doing. And there is Schumacher coming out of the centre curve. Heading down towards the Agip corner. Wehrlein 3 seconds behind Calderon in the fight for second. Now, Mastercard Lola have never achieved a 1-2 finish in their history in the Grand Prix World Series. Could today change just that? When will any of these be pitting, I wonder? Well, Schumacher's not in the pits, neither is Calderon, and neither is Wehrlein. We have completed lap 12. We are over a third of the way through now. Gary Paffett and Alec Manisha in 4th and 5th places. Now that would be 22 points coming in the way of the team, should they stay there. Which would move them on to 62 points. And with the positions as they are, they would go in front of Andrea Moda and LaRose. Mick Schumacher holds the fastest up of the race. It's very unlikely that anyone will beat that now, so I think Schumacher is more or less assured of that. He's already won in Dijon Bourgogne, has Mick. Tessa Calderon has won in Yongam. Is today going to be the day where they finish 1 and 2 and close down the gap to Von Mattel in the Teams Championship? Went into this 52 points behind. If they were to come away with the maximum, which is 45, and Von Mattel come away with only 15, that will cut the gap to 22 points. As Brendan Hartley making a move on Mirko Bortolotti into the S-curve, gets his nose in front. That's a change for position there, and that's enough to move him up the order. Calderon coming out of the last corner in 2nd place. There is Mirko Bortolotti going for it again on Hartley. side by side they go into the centre curve. And that's another change of position. They're having a good ding-dong battle, those two. There's Verline in third place as Takuma Sato is looking to get through on Andre Lotterer, who looks to be carrying a problem. Is the German. It seems to be okay, actually, does the Andre motor, so it could just be a bit of a mistake that he made out of the centre curve. And that was enough for Takuma to go ahead. Well, there is Schumacher in the lead. The two Force Indians are in 6th and 9th places. Ed Spencer's team will be very happy with this one. They're trying to close down on Zack Speed and Dome. And potentially Pacific. We go back to the battle between Takuma Sato and Andre Lotterer. This is for only 20th position. And Lotterer, who hasn't pitted in this race, Sato has done. And Lotterer isn't making it easy for him. Piquetto is running in 22nd place. He's got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision and gaining position with Brendan Hartley. And there is Calderon, who is now 12 seconds off the lead as we see Christian Lundgaard go off the circuit with a suspension problem, and the Dane is out of the way. Both of the Colonies are out now here at Hockenheim. Now, I was very worried with Lundgaard potentially spinning back onto the circuit, but thankfully he stayed off the tarmac pretty much. And there he is, out of the way. Not a threat to anyone there. Lundgaard, the next to go from this race. Coloni's race is finished. And Paffett is in from 5th, or 4th rather. And Marcello coming in as well. I think Paffett will rejoin in front of Bortolotti. Is he going to rejoin maybe in front of Rowland perhaps? Well, he's looking to get in front of Tixon, who's coming around the first corner, or gone round the first corner. And Marcello will rejoin in 15th position ahead of Conway. Or behind Conway, I should say. 4 drivers now out of this one. Lundgaard, Ericsson, Alguersuari and Dennis. There's Lotterer trying to get through on Takuma into the Clark curve. No move there at the moment. Nelson Piquet Jr. pits in for the second time in this race. And Mick Schumacher comes in at the end of lap number 15. And Calderon will take over at the head of the field for now. And there is Hartley, who is carrying an issue, unfortunately. So it looks like one of Kevin McMullen's cars are going to go out of this one. It's a body blow to Brendan Hartley's championship hopes. He was towards the back anyway, but this is not what he needed. So just sets the camera in 6th place currently, but Hartley is out of the race. And his teammate Setzer Camera is actually coming in for his only stop of the race. And Hartley's race is up in smoke, and he goes no further. There is Calderon, there is Verline. Mick Schumacher rejoined in 3rd place, well ahead of Kamiya Sato. So he's got no back markers to worry about, or any traffic to deal with. There is Lotterer, still behind Takuma Sato. These are still tussling, you know. Lotterer at the inside of Takuma, but can't make the move stick. Sets the camera, who has just pitted. He's looking to get a move on here and make a move of his own. through at the moment for the Brazilian. But his opportunity will come. Calderon pits in from the lead a lap after her teammate Mick Schumacher came in. That allows Pascal Wehrlein to go back ahead. I'll take over the lead for now. And Calderon should rejoin in front of Kimi Sato. Yeah, she's well out in front of Kimi, I think, because Kimi's in the pits. So Aiken goes up to 4th place. Alexander Rossi now 5th. Gary Paffett will go back up the order too. Dan Titson coming into the pits for Real. And Becchetta is slowing with the problem in the Carlin. He was right at the back anyway. He's not going to make it to the checker flag, unfortunately. He pulls to the side and he's out of the race. And it's been a race to forget for Carlin so far. And Ross Brown, or Perry Brown I should say. There's a puncher there for Becchetta as confirmation as the cause of him slowing down. They don't look like they're going to be looking anywhere near a promotion race. They are 11th in their debut season with 27 points. Long way behind. And Wehrlein comes in for his only stop at the end of lap 17. And so Mick Schumacher will take over the lead of the race. And Calderon will go back up into 2nd. Calderon's coming around the last corner now. But she'll be in front of Wehrlein, no problem. So Wehrlein rejoins in 3rd place, which I think is going to be the best that Von Mittal are going to achieve today. Unless something happens to Schumacher and Calderon up front. Aiken and Rossi are in the pits together. That moves Paffett and McNish back up to 4th and 5th places on merit. Bortolotti heading into the pits, which will allow Marcello to go through into 6th position. And there's Sese Camera dicing it with Takuma Sato. Down the back straight they come. There is Sese Camera, there is Takuma Sato. Into the Clark curve once more, but no change between those two just yet. Sese Camera is on the fresher tyres to what Takuma is doing. He goes up the inside, does Sergio Sese Camera, he goes for it. And he is due up to 9th position, is the Brazilian. Wehrlein in P3. Doing a cracking job so far. Or the best he can. And there's Rossi up the inside of the dome. As we watch Mick Schumacher go through the Clark curve. I think he was lapping a car. I think it might have been Nelson Piquet Jr. he was putting a lap on. He's through no problem anyway. And Wehrlein, who's trying to close down on Calderon. And the gap at the moment is 3.8 seconds. There is Lucas Di Grassi behind Takuma Sato. Cannot find a way through, but he may get back into the slipstream of the Japanese pilot. And he's looking for the move, he's looking for a way past. And he goes in front. Does Lucas Di Grassi. And 11th position going to the Saxby pilot. Behind Takuma Sato is Dan Titson, who has pitted in this race. think pretty much everyone has done at least one stop. So we've done 19 laps of this race now. With Schumacher continuing to lead. The gap between him and Calderon is 13 seconds. The closest battle we've got on circuit, really. Probably say it's between Di Grassi and Takuma Sato, but Di Grassi's already got through on Sato. So there's not really a lot going on right now. Not a lot of overtakes as far as we know. As we watch Andre Lotterer coming out of the sweeping right-hander after the S-curve. He's in 19th position, only Nelson Piquet Jr. is behind him. And Lotterer is behind Mike Conway and Fabio Lima as we watch Mirko Bortolotti competing in his second Grand Prix World Series race. He finished behind his teammate in 12th in Brands Hatch. As we watch Sergio Sette Camera go off the circuit, runs wide, and that allows, well, almost allowing Alexander Rossi through there. So he just went too deep there, went over the curbs. And I don't think that really put Rossi off, in all honesty. Although he may have to slow down to avoid a collision. And is Rossi going to get through here? Sets the camera looking to hold him off for now. And he does so. There's Sets the camera ahead of Rossi. Rossi diving to the inside of Sete Camera into the centre curve, and that's enough for Rossi to get through. And it looks like the Zach Speed of Di Grassi is trying to get through at the same time. Sete Camera is really struggling here. Di Grassi has got his nose in front here, and he's through, no problem there. Next one behind Sete Camera is Takuma Sato. Lap 21. Schumacher 14 laps away from a home victory. And pushing Von Mattel, well, pushing Master Lola ever closer to promotion. And looking at their rivals, Pacific don't seem to be scoring any points. Saxby look to get 1. And don't seem to be on course for 6 points. And we see the Carlin of Fabio Lima pulling out on the exit of turn 1. Andre Lotterer going through. And that's the end of the race for Carlin. Both of their cars are now out. I think that's the first time in the Grand Prix World Series that neither car has made it to the checker flag. So that's another one out of this. And it's still a Master Lower 1 and 2 at the head of the field. Gearbox problems for Lima. As we see Calderon and Verline going through. Rossi's running in 9th, Grassi 10th, Sete Camera, Kim Sutton, Dan Tipton, all fighting towards the lower end of the points. Doesn't like anything's going to change between Marcello, Kamir Sutton and Jack Aiken, although Aiken is 1.5 seconds behind Kamir. Not got too long to go left in this race. We've got 12 laps to do at the end of this one. Mick Schumacher's lead is 14.6 seconds over Pascal Wehrlein. Over Sebastian Calderon. 14.6 seconds, I should say. Wehrlein 18.3 seconds off the lead. As it stands, as I've already mentioned, Moscardella will be closing in on Von Mattel. Will be 22 points behind them. But they distance themselves further away from 4th place Dome and 5th place Sack Speed. And it looks like Kamir Sato, is he in front of Jet Aiken still? He is still in front of Jet Aiken. Just looking at the positions, it's almost like they're changing all the time, but they're not as we speak. Von Mattel will still be distancing themselves clear of the likes of Pacific Dome and Sack Speed. They will be, as it stands, Dome getting 6 points for Kamir Sato. He will be 114 points ahead, which is nearly the equivalent of 3 maximum scores. We've got the League 1 race coming up later today, so stay tuned as we watch Mick Schumacher coming out of the last turn to complete another lap. And there's no trouble in him right now. Only mechanical gremlins can stop him. He's only laps the one car in this race, that's Nelson Piquet Jr. As we watch Callum Ilott. He's running in 14th position behind Dan Tickton. Behind Ilott is Mirko Bortolotti. Calderon's just lapped Piquet Jr. Verno will be doing the same shortly. As we watch. Just seeing the leaderboard at the moment. And we're not seeing too many changes right now. Definitely not in the top 15 anyway. Schumacher absolutely flying. Driving like he owns the circuit. As Mirko Bortolotti makes a move on Callum Ilott towards turn number 2. He's up the inside is the Italian, but Ilott is able to hold him off for now. So decent defensive driving there from Callum Ilott. But Bortolotti is not giving this up. And he's up the inside and through into 14th position he goes. Behind Ilott is Oliver Rowland. And now we're seeing Wehrlein putting a lap on Nelson Piquet Jr. as we see Sete Camera running wide a little bit on the exit of the centre curve and getting away with it. It doesn't look like Pacific are going to be coming away with any points here. They were on a streak of 3 races in the points, but today, at the moment, is going to end that unless something happens in the final laps. And there we are seeing Andre Lotterer in the Andrea Moda on his own in 18th place. No chance of points again for Andrea Moda, who are without a manager at the moment. So if there's anyone out there that wishes to take the services of Andrea Moda until the end of the season, then do let us know. There is the Discord that you can see on the YouTube description if you want to join, which is the Retro Racing Managers League Discord server. We're now on lap 26. Schumacher's just completed his 25th lap. Continuing to dominate in this. And now we are seeing Nick coming out of the Clark curve. Jet Aiken looking to get through on Kamir Sato as we watch Alan McNish try and catch his teammate Gary Paffett. McNish is over 12 seconds ahead of Rafael Marciello. There is Mick in P1. Calderon will be very happy with her second place here. And now we are seeing Jet Aiken pull off a move on Kamir Sato as they go side by side into the first chicane of the lap. And Aiken looks to have it here. Up the inside goes Jet Aiken. And that's an excellent overtake from the Brit to put him up into 7th place. Force India are on course for 2 cars in the top 7. And it's something they've never achieved before during their time in the Grand Prix World Series. They finished 6th and 8th in Brands Hatch last time out. They've been in a good run of form in recent races. They've had a decent season so far. There's Verline. He's about 3 seconds behind Calderon. Still chasing for that second place. He also needs to think about the championship. As it stands, he'll be moving into the lead by 3 points over his teammate Marcus Ericsson. And we've seen an overtake there. Is that Sete Camera going slowly? I think it is, because Takuma Sato got through on him rather easily. I think Sete Camera will be in the pits at the end of this lap. Yeah, Sete Camera's just been overtaken by Dan Tixon now, so he'll be in the pits. And Pacific's day is pretty much done and dusted, if I'm honest. Sete Camera comes in. And Kevin Mullen's going to be without points again today, unfortunately. Here we see Pascal Verline behind Tatiana Calderon. Schumacher going over the line to start another lap. 7 laps to go for him. There's going to be 2 wins in the last 3 races for him. He's just lapped Sergio Sete Camera. He's now behind Andre Lotterer. He's down to 18th place. Is Sete Camera. Schumacher looking to get through on Lotterer, who will stay out of the way here. So Schumacher is through on Lotterer, his compatriot. And there's Verline, looking good for a podium on home turf. We've wished that Marcus Ericsson had stayed in the race, but at the same time, he is on course for 5 points finishes in a row, which I believe would break the record for the most consecutive points finishes by a single driver. I think that's correct, although I might be wrong on this occasion, but at the same time... In fact, no, Jose Maria Lopez, who will be making his debut in the Grand Prix World Series later. Well, not the debut, but his return to the Grand Prix World Series later today. I think he holds the record for the most consecutive points finishes with 8. And then we can see Seto Cameron making a move on Andre Lotterer into turn 1. Can't make the move stick. What I was maybe going to say about Pascal Wehrlein is that should he finish on the podium today, he will go level with Scott Dixon. Although Dixon will be racing later today, so should Dixon finish on the podium, he'll extend his run to 5 podiums in a row. And Seto Cameron, I believe, has got through on Andre Lotterer, and he's through into 17th position. He'll be on much fresher tyres than Mick Schumacher will be, so if he can try and catch up to him, he may be able to get through on another car or two before the race is over. Wehrlein in P3. The gap between him and Calderon is down to less than 2.7 seconds. The race for second may not be over yet. And Dan Tittum's in 12th position. This is Riel's home race as well as Zach Speed's. Although they're not having the best of days, either of those two teams, in all honesty. Degrassi is in 10th place, Rowling in 15th. And for Riel, they've got Tittum in 12th and Conway in 16th. Schumacher going through turn 1. We'll be coming up to another few back markers. As we see Lucas Degrassi getting a little bit squirrely through the Os curve, but getting away with it. He's in 10th place, on course for a point. Wehrlein is slowly but surely closing in on Calderon with 5 laps remaining. It's a long circuit, so there's plenty of time to make up ground, but not enough time, I don't think, for Wehrlein. We go back to Mick Schumacher. He's not too far away from victory. The Mastercard Lola's 3rd victory of the campaign. Calderon winning out in Yongam, Schumacher winning out in Dijon-Bourgogne. It just seems to me like it's between Mastercard Lola and Fomitel who are going to be winning the races between now and the end of the season in League 2. Go back to Pascal Wehrlein, who's in P3 behind Calderon. Wehrlein's got 28.5 seconds in hand over Paffett. Over the line he goes to start another lap. So Schumacher really on form so far in his Grand Prix World Series career. He's had a DNF in Misano, a 7th place finish in Istanbul. In fact, we'll go in chronological order. It's a non-finish in Kyalami, 7th place in Istanbul, non-finish in Misano, a win in Dijon-Bourgogne, and 2nd in Brands Hatch. With the way things are going here, he's on course to make it 2 wins in the last 3 races. Calderon will be wanting the checker flag to come out now. Behind Calderon is Wehrlein, who's 2.8 seconds behind, so he's dropped back a little bit. And as the German So out of the Sachs curve they come. And everyone will have completed 90% of the race leader's distance, or the full distance. So they will all be classified as finishes, whatever happens now. In terms of the battles going on right now, the closest I would say, you're probably looking at between Ilott and Roland for 14th position. You know, just ahead on the lead lap, but they could well be lapped before this race is over by Mick Schumacher. They're all very much spaced out now. You see Mick Schumacher coming out of the centre curve behind Mike Conway as he makes his way through the Agip corner. And now they come towards the Sachs curve. Schumacher putting a lap on Mike Conway. He goes through, no problem. He may have lost a little bit of time, but he's got plenty of time in hand over Calderon and Verline. Two laps to go then for Mick. What a day this is going to be for Marcus Johansson to see though. His cars 1 and 2. And what a result for Ram, with McNish in 5th place and Pavitt just ahead of him in 4th. And they'll continue to move up the order in the team standings. And with Pacific not scoring, Dome only picking up 4 points, and Zack Speed only picking up 1 point. Force India are going to be closing on this, as are Ram. Force India are going to be collecting 14 championship points, which will move them just 1 point behind 5th place Zack Speed. And Dome will move to within 8 points of 3rd place Pacific. The battle for the 3rd and final promotion spot seems to be going to the wire. I think the top 2 is effectively sewn up. It's just a matter of when both Von Mattel and Mars Colella will be going up. There's Verline continuing on his way. Degrassi's less than 2 seconds ahead of Takuma Sato. Mick Schumacher will be beginning the last lap in a moment now. What a race it's been from him. Just untroubled from start to finish. We'll be putting a lap on Oliver Rowland in a moment. There we go, look. So Schumacher gets through on the Brit, no problem. The next man to lap is Callum Ilott, although he'll probably run out of time to do that. There is Calderon in 2nd place, Verline in P3. As Conway runs wide and nearly taken out Sete Camera on the exit of the Clark curve. Thankfully, he didn't take out the Pacific, otherwise that would have resulted in a race ban. Just been lapped by the leader as well. It's Mike Conway. I don't know if that's put him off for a little bit, but we are on the last lap. It's getting to the end of the race, and now he's in a battle with Sergio Sete Camera, which, believe it or not, this will be the closest battle on circuit. And this is for 16th. And Sete Camera looking to go for it, but to no avail. But I want to go back to Mick Schumacher, because he is about to complete the last lap and complete a memorable victory in front of his adoring German fans. And not only that, for Marcus Johansson's team, it's going to be their first ever 1-2 in the Grand Prix World Series. It was the 1st and 3rd in Dijon-Bourgogne. Today, it's going to be even better than that. 1 and 2, pole position and fastest lap. Maximum points here in Hockenheim. Mick Schumacher trying to get through on Callum Ilott's lap, but he doesn't need to do that. Mick Schumacher for Mastercard Lola comes through to win his home Grand Prix. He wins the League 2 Hockenheim Grand Prix. What a sensational performance in Germany by the man who carries the name of the 7-time Formula World champion Michael Schumacher. It is Mick Schumacher who comes out on top. Tatiana Calderon in second place, completing a Mastercard Lola 1 and 2. Verline continues von Mattel's run of podium finishes in consecutive races. That's 8 in a row now for Ewan Gale's team. They edge ever nearer to promotion in League 1 once more. Now it's Nelson Piquet Jr. crossing over the line. A lonely race for him, but at least he's got to the checkered flag. But we want to go to the Rams because Gary Paffett and Alan McNish are going to complete the team's best ever result. 4th and 5th for them. They will be pleased with this. As will Ross McGregor. He can dream about challenging for promotion. As will Ed Spencer, because his Force India squad are going to be 6th and 7th with Marcello ahead of Aiken. And behind those two will be Kamir Sato in the Dome in 8th, Alexander Rossi in 9th, and Lucas Di Grassi picking up the last point in 10th position for Zach Speed. Takuma Sato just missing out in 11th, with Dan Titton with his best result in the Grand Prix World Series in 12th. At least that's something that Ed Hunter will be satisfied about. Mirko Bortolotti in 13th position, and the last driver on the lead light will be Callum Ilott in 14th place. But there is your race winner. It is Mick Schumacher for Mastercard Lola on home turf in Germany. Congratulations to Mick. Tatiana Calderon in second place, running off a 1-2 for the team ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. Then we got Gary Paffett and Alan McNish running off a brilliant day for Ram in 4th and 5th. Force India getting 6th and 7th with Marcello ahead of Aiken. Kamir Sato 8th, Alexander Rossi in 9th, and Lucas Di Grassi in 10th place in the Zach Speed. Takuma Sato in 11th after his problem in the early stages of the race. Dan Titson 12th with Mirko Bortolotti in 13th, Callum Ilott in 14th place. Oliver Rowland, Mike Conway, Sergio Sette Camara, Andre Lotterer and Nelson Piquet Jr. were the rest of the finishers. Fabio Lima retired with gearbox problems, as we look to the rest of the non-classified finishers. Luciano Becchetta, Brendan Hartley, Christian Lundgaard, Marcus Ericsson, who we lost due to a loose wheel, Jaime Alguersuari and Jake Dennis were the rest to not make it to the checkered flag. Mick Schumacher got the points for the fastest lap and for pole position. It's the perfect day for team manager Marcus Johansson of the Mastercard Lola team. How does that affect the standings in League 2? It's time for Topher Smith to run down on just that. The League 1 race is coming up very, very shortly.
A huge result there for the Mastercard Lola team, first and second at the Hockenheim Grand Prix, and the home fans celebrating Mick Schumacher's victory there today. Pascal Wehrlein not quite able to make it, 2 Germans in the top 2, but an extra German on the podium in 3rd will no doubt be a welcome sight for the adoring fans here at Hockenheim. And as far as the championship is concerned after that race, Pascal Wehrlein has moved into the lead past his teammate. It is still a von Mattel 1-2, 106 points to 103. Wehrlein ahead of Ericsson there. Tatiana Calderon is 3rd on 98 points, not quite breaking the 100 barrier just yet. Brendan Hartley hangs on to 4th overall on 85 points. And Mick Schumacher working his way up there after victory to 5th place, 79 points, and he's well and truly embedding himself into this title fight now. Jack Aitken is 6th in the Force India ahead of Alexander Rossi in the Larousse. Kimi Sato, Lucas Di Grassi and Takuma Sato still in the top 10 as we head away from Hockenheim and look ahead to the remaining few races of the season. And in the team standings, von Mattel on 209 points, but Mastercard Lola has close in that gap. They are on 187 points, 22 points between them. It's getting very close now, less than a race win between von Mattel and Mastercard Lola, and it is well and truly between those two teams now as to who will come out with the title glory at the end of the season. Pacific Grand Prix are still 3rd, but 8 points ahead of Dome there. That battle is heating up for the final promotion spot, but they are bringing Zach Speed and Force India along with them. It's turning into a 4-way fight for that remaining promotion spot, and we will keep an eager eye on that for the last few races. Larousse are 7th on 62 ahead of Ram, also on 62. Larousse ahead on Countback. Andrea Moda and Scuderi Coloni round out the top 10 on 59 and 39 respectively, while Carlin, Damsvart and Real having seasons to forget at the moment, especially Real, their home race not bearing any fruit for them as they remain on 2 points for the season. And with the quality of drivers they have, they should be scoring more points than that, but not a lot of power in the car at the moment. And Ed Hunter, I'm sure, looking ahead to next season with eager anticipation that he can get some more points on the board and fight for the championship next time around. But we now look ahead to the League One race here today, and a few driver changes to bring you before we get stuck into this one. First of which is at the Simtech team. Stoffel Van Dorn, a race winner in the Grand Prix World Series, has been dropped down to a reserve role, and Scott Woodward has brought on board a new reserve driver and giving him a go straight away in the race seat, and that is Luke Browning, the more recent real-life Macau Grand Prix winner. Huge congratulations to Luke Browning, by the way, for that victory. He will now make his debut in the Grand Prix World Series with the Simtech team alongside Scott Dixon, and who better to mentor you for your debut in this highly competitive championship. We will see how he gets on when it comes to the race. And at the Manor team, Kamui Kobayashi has been demoted down to reserve role and replaced by the returning Jose Maria Lopez. Now, Lopez finished second in League Two last season, having not scored any victories, but consistently scoring points, made him the vice champion. And amazingly, a lot of people were shocked by this, he was never picked up for a race seat for Season 3. Well, Sam Hall has now picked him up for a race seat to see how he gets on, having had a few races out. Can he get Manor up there fighting for those higher reaches of the point standings and bring them some more podiums and maybe even a race win? We will see how Lopez gets along on his return. Has he lost any speed in the Grand Prix World Series since his Eurobrun days? Well, we certainly hope not. It's going to be hugely competitive for the Argentine to prove that he needs to be on this grid. And finally, at the BAR team, Antonio Giovinazzi getting another go in the car, but this time replacing Sean Galale, who picked up a race ban last time out in Brands Hatch, and Giovinazzi giving another chance to prove that he deserves a full-time race seat in this championship. Now, before we take a look at the grid, let's have a quick look at the drivers' standings. Scott Dixon, our reigning champion, is also our championship leader on 126 points. Nick de Vries is second on 80 ahead of Will Power on 64. Pato Ward, his race victory at Dijon-Bourgogne earlier in the season brought him into title contention, and he's on 62 points in fourth. Romain Grosjean, fifth on 60 points in the Manor. Antonio Felix da Costa, he'll be disappointed with sixth in the standings on 56 points, having had the speed to win many races this season, but not the reliability, unfortunately. The same fate also befalling his teammate Nick de Vries at a few races this season. Sebastian Buemi is seventh in the Leighton House ahead of Helio Castroneves on 37. Kamui Kobayashi, who will not race today, is ninth on 37 also, and Stoffel Van Dorn, also who will not race today, on 36. That is 3 of the top 10 in the standings who are not racing at the Hockenheim Grand Prix. Actually amazing how the driver changes can work in this championship. But in the team, Simtech leads the way on 162 points, only 9 ahead of Leighton House on 153, who in turn are 9 ahead of Minardi on 144. It is well and truly between those three for the championship this season, and I reckon that order is going to chop and change quite a few times before we get to Laguna Seca. Manor is fourth on 97 points ahead of Arrows on 91, Super Guri on 70 ahead of Prost on 50, Onyx Grand Prix on 49, HRT on 45, and BAR rounding out the top 10 on 23. Well, looking now to the grid for today's League One Hockenheim Grand Prix, and surprise, surprise, it's Nick de Vries on pole position once again in a Minardi, half a second ahead of Scott Dixon in Simtech, who has split the Minardis and prevented a front row lockout for Giacomo Pagliaro's Italian team. Nick de Vries absolutely bossing it in qualifying this season, but with the upgrade window having just passed, Giacomo Pagliaro did put some reliability into the car. Will that deliver another race victory today? We'll wait to see how this race pans out. Jose Maria Lopez, on his return to the Grand Prix World Series, has put his Manor fourth on the grid. A fantastic performance from the Argentine driver, ahead of Pato Ward in the Arrows, Will Power in the Leighton House, then Nick Yellowly, Antonio Giovinazzi, Adrian Quaife-Hobbs and Sebastian Buemi round out the top 10 for this League One race here today. Alex Lynn, 11th in HRT, ahead of Romain Grosjean in the second Manor. Luke Browning on his debut in the Simtech will line up 13th, 1.8 seconds off the pace of the super fast Minardi car here today. Jean-Eric Verne in the Prost is 14th, ahead of his countryman Sebastian Bourdais in 15th. Marco Wittmann at his home race in the Prost is 16th, ahead of Paul di Resta, Antonio Fuoco, Nicolas Latifi and Felipe Nasr. That is your top 20. In 21st is Robin Freins, ahead of Roy Nissany, Rio Harriento, Jehan Daravala, and the two AGS drivers of Colton Herta and Alex Palou round out the grid. Well, we're all really excited to get this one underway. A lot of intrigue, a lot of questions heading into this race. And to take you through the action and give you the commentary once again, here's Tom Cairns.
Another pole for De Vries, another pole for Minardi. Can they continue their winning ways from Brands Hatch and get back on the right track for the race for the title? The 5 red lights are coming on, and when they go out, we'll be racing here for one last time in Hockenheim. It's lights out, and away we go. Nick De Vries getting away well, as does his teammate Antonio Felix da Costa, who's got in front of Scott Dixon at the start. There's an incident at the back, and it's Roman Grosjean in the manor who has crashed out at the beginning. Who has he come together with? We'll find out very, very quickly. Who has been massively outperformed by his new teammate Jose Maria Lopez. He actually caught the back of the HRT of Alex Lynn. Now, Alex Lynn, who was taken out last time out by Sean Galeo, was very lucky to keep going this time around. But for Roman Grosjean, it's the end of the road before turn 1. Disaster there for Manor and for Sam Hall. De Vries still in the lead then, with Da Costa in second place. But watch out for Scott Dixon, who's looking to retaliate and get back through on the Portuguese, but he's not able to make the move stick. So De Vries leads, Da Costa second, Dixon third. We've got Jose Maria Lopez up in a brilliant 4th place in the manor, doing a superlative job in place of Kamui Kobayashi. And we've got Pastor Ward, Will Power is in 6th place, Alex Lynn, and Taylor Giovinazzi, who's dropped back behind Nick Yellerly for a moment. And in 10th, well, Luke Brennan, who was in 10th place, has got ahead of Giovinazzi now. Giovinazzi is having a torrid first lap. He got off to a good start at the beginning, but he's lost a heap of places since then. Now, Giovinazzi, who was once again in place this time of Sean Galeo. Nicolas Latifi is back in the car of his that was occupied by Giovinazzi last time out in Brands Hatch, but Giovinazzi is in Galeo's car this time for Hockenheim. And there is Alex Lynn, who's on a charge now, trying to get through on the Leighton House of Will Power. Side by side they go. Is Lynn on the inside? He's got through. Nicely done there by Alex Lynn. Up into 6th place he goes. 2 HRTs in the top 8. Luke Browning, who's on his Grand Prix World Series debut in 9th position after impressing in the mid-season test in Dijon-Bourgogne and following the rounds of Brands Hatch. It was Scott Woodwis who felt that he warranted an opportunity. As we see Will Power go off the racetrack, bouncing over the curbs. Is he out of the race? I think he is. He's lost the wheel as Will Power by going through the gravel trap. Now, Nick Yellerly was alongside going into turn 1, or was it the other way around? I think Will Power tried to get back through on Alex Lynn. The move backfired. Lynn closed the door, and the left front is off Will Power's car, and he is out of the race for the 3rd time in a row. Dijon-Bourgogne, Brands Hatch, Hockenheim. No points for Will Power yet again. And Adrian Quay-Forbes in the pits for Arrows. I think he must have maybe been involved in the start accident there with Roman Grosjean. He's had to pit in for a new nose. And now we are seeing Paul di Resta behind Antonio Giovinazzi coming towards the Os curve, and we are seeing him move further up ahead. That looked like Sebastian Buemi getting through on Nick Yellerly. Now Buemi is back after a 1-race ban for the collision that he caused. I think it was with, I'm trying to remember who it was, because we had a few drivers taking race bans for their collisions in Dijon-Bourgogne. But either way, Buemi had to serve a race ban for causing the collision with someone. And now he's back in the Leighton House, and Leighton House have had a really torrid time of it in Brands Hatch, as they did so in Dijon-Bourgogne. No points for either driver or for the team back then, and it's not got off to the best of starts for them here in Hockenheim. For Minardi though, they've still got both cars running, but can they get both cars to the end of the race this time? Nick De Vries win a new fastest lap. Now, Antonio Felix da Costa and Nick De Vries, the last time that both Minardis made it to the end of the race was in round 5, which was in Kyalami. Nick de Vries coming home in 3rd place. Antonio Felix da Costa was 10th. Now, the nearest driver to Scott Dixon in the Drivers' Championship is Nick de Vries, who's leading this race right now. 46 points off the top with 7 races to go, including this one. He's already got the pole position point as de Vries. Dixon is now behind Jose Maria Lopez in 4th position. As it stands with de Vries holding the points for the fast lap and pole position. He'll close down the gap by quite some way. It'll be down to 27 points as we see Vern, who's behind De Resta in 13th. His teammate Marco Wittmann is a bit further back. And there's a collision. That looks like Colton Herter, who's been taken out there by his teammate Alex Palou. The rear wing is off, but he's still able to keep going. So we had Marco Wittmann behind, and Palou just ran into him. And that's not what AGS needed. We've had a decent run of results recently, but Herter's race has taken another turn for the worst. Only 1 point to his name this season as Palou gets through after making contact with Herter's car. And there'll be a penalty, I would have thought, coming in the way of Alex Palou. It's a 30-second time penalty and the back of the grid drop for the next race in Panonia. And Vern is behind Froco now, who's trying to make a move on Felipe Nasr into the Agip corner. And it looks like Froco's got his nose in front of the Midland. Nasr down to 13th place. Nick de Vries with a new fastest lap at the end of lap 3. Lopez closing in on Antonio Felix da Costa. And it's Pato Ward who's running in a fine 5th ahead of Alex Lynn. Luke Browning on debuts in 7th place. Sebastian Buemi, Nick Yellerly and Antonio Giovinazzi running out the top 10. Behind the Italian, we've got Paul de Resta in the Super Aguri, who's back after a one race ban for causing the collision with Sebastian Bourdais in Dijon Bourgogne. Antonio Froco is 12th, and we've got Felipe Nasr in the Midland in 13th. Jean-Luc Verne is 14th, and Sebastian Bourdais, who finished on the podium last time out in Brands Hatch, is in 15th position. As we watch Verne trying to make a move on Felipe Nasr. He'll get into the slipstream and have a go. Round the outside goes the Frenchman. And is this going to be a change for positions as they go towards the S-curve? Verne gets his nose in front, no problem. Verne making the move and making the most of his opportunity in the Prost. As Sebastian Bourdais gets through at the same time on Nasr. So I think Midland are struggling so far in this race for engine power, but there's a long way to go yet. 2 retirements from this race so far. Romain Grosjean and Will Power are no longer in this race. And Nasr gets back through on Bourdais. Nasr is through, no problem there. Lopez continuing to make up ground on da Costa in the fight for 2nd place in this race. Coming out of the last corner before the end of the lap, de Vries' gap to da Costa is continuing to increase. It's now 4.9 seconds between the 2 Minardi drivers. And you're watching Jose Maria Lopez. He's keeping his eyes in front of the Minardi ahead and keeping focus of the driving. There's de Vries. And it looks like Will Power's championship hopes are pretty much all but over now. As it is for Romain Grosjean and Antonio Felix da Costa. As we see the BAR of Nicholas Latifi getting through on Sebastian Bourdais. That's enough to move the Canadian up to 15th place. De Vries is absolutely in form right now. And as we see Bourdais get back through on Latifi. It's a good scrap between these two. Changes keep on coming in up and down the field. There's da Costa. And Bourdais is still under threat from Latifi, who's coming back at him. There's the freeze coming around to complete lap 5. Costa over 5 seconds behind in P2. Lost half a second on De Vries in the last sector alone. Let's see if they're getting out of shape. Keeping it on the track. So we're not. As we see Dixon get through on Lopez for 3rd place now. I think he's got through on him in the first chicane by the looks of things. So Dixon's back through. Bourdais behind Latifi. They're still dicing it out, these two. Behind the BAR and the Onyx is the Super Aguri. Well, it looks like Robin Friends, who is having a ding-dong battle of his own in the last race with Ollie Behrman, who made his debut. Bourdais still fighting it out with Latifi. This is great racing between these two. This is probably the best racing we've had all day today. Bourdais through on Latifi, no problem. There's Dixon, who's back into 3rd place now. He's hoping to close in on Antonio Felix da Costa. Now Scott Dixon, who is finished on the podium each of the last 4 races. To make it 5, that would make it an all-time record. The most number of podium finishes in a row by a single driver, as we see Robin Friends trying to make a move on Nicholas Latifi, but can't make the move stick. And he falls back into the clutches of the 240s. I think Derila is ahead of Roy Nassani. They are both in 17th and 18th places. So, oh, that's Dixon! And he's out! He's crashed out as Dixon! I can't believe it! Well, that changes the situation in the championship quite a bit. Dixon got it all wrong over the curves at the Clark curve. Hit the barrier, and his race is over. It's almost a carbon copy of what he did in Kyalami earlier in the season. The championship leader, Scott Dixon, is out of the Hockenheim Grand Prix. Disaster for Simtech. As Jose Maria Lopez watches the Simtech go off. And that is it for Scott Dixon's race. He is out. He's not going to be scoring any points. And what an opportunity now for Minardi and Nick De Vries to really close in the arrears in the championship battle. Now, O'Ward is up to 4th, Lynn 5th, Buemi, Brownie, Yellowly, Giovinazzi and DeResta are in the points. And Scott Dixon is not going to make it 5 podiums in a row. That is over. His run of 4 consecutive podiums are over. Another costly error. And all of Dixon's retirements this season have been either in collisions or of his own making. Now with the Minardis running 1 and 2 and on course potentially for maximum points, they were 18 points behind Simtech coming into this round. If they were to get 45, with Browning only getting 6 for Simtech in 7th place, they will move into the lead of the team's championship by a considerable margin. It'll be a 21-point margin. And with Simtech, with Leighton House still in the race, they have got Buemi in 6th as well. They've closed down by a couple of points. And we see Roy Nassani trying to get through on his teammate Jehan Duravala. So no avail on this occasion. Marco Wittmann's behind them in 19th. Not having the best of races either. So far, so good from Nani. It's Giovinazzi. Wrecks his front wing over the curve, and he'll have to come back into the pits for a new nose cone. Now, has he done that all by himself? I think he has done. He's locked up into the... Yeah, he's just carried too much speed onto the exit of the OS curve, and that's wrecked his front wing, so he'll be in the pits at the end of this lap. De Vries's gap over his teammate Da Costa is 7 seconds as we watch Luke Browning trying to get back through on Nick Yellerly. He's just been overtaken by Yellerly. Simtek's race isn't getting any better at the moment as Browning fights back with Yellerly. Does he get back through? The answer is no. He stays behind the young Brit. Well, Nick Yellerly's through into 7th place as Giovinazzi drops behind De Resta now and Froco. And soon Jean-Luc Verne will get through on the Italian very, very shortly. Giovinazzi into the pit lane now. That promotes Antonio Froco up into the points for Onyx. Now BAR, who went into this round level on points with AGS in the relegation battle, they're only just ahead of them on countback. But the good news for them is that they are at the back of the field anyway, and they don't look like going to be scoring either. As we see Alex Lynn going wide, but able to gather it all up and keep going. And that's going to allow Boemi to close in on it, I would have thought. Please get into the slipstream. So, going through the second sector now before the centre curve as De Vries continues on. There is Froco getting through on the Super Aguri of Paul De Resta. It's ahead of him before the corner, actually, so Froco goes up into 9th place, no problem. But De Resta is not giving it up by any means. He's alongside. Is he going to have his nose in front before the corner? Or is Froco got this one covered? Froco has this one covered for now. Oh, there's an engine problem though for Froco. Just as he got past him, the engine has expired. And when it was looking good for Ryan Ferris and for the Onyx team, it's all falling apart for them. And Froco is going to be out of this race. He's going to be pulling to the side very shortly. The car is up in flames. Drivers are trying to get through on him. And Nazza is having to get a bowl full of fire and smoke in his face there. But it's the end of the road for Antonio Froco, who's going to be out again here. So another driver goes from this. The 40's going through. Marco Wittmann will go through as well, as will Rio Haryanto, as will Alex Palou. The other Onyx of Sebastian Bourdais is up there in 12th position, so all rest will be on him to salvage something for the Onyx team. But it's the end of the race for Antonio Froco. He retires with an engine problem. We see Da Costa make his way through the penultimate turn. And De Vries completes his 10th lap. You're not going to be too far away from pit stops. Now, virtually the whole field did 1 stops in lead 2 earlier on. There is De Vries going through the Clark curve. Absolutely on form again here. Coming towards the OS curve as we see Buemi make a move on Lynn. This is for 5th place. And Buemi is through, no problem on Lynn. That's a great overtake from the Swiss. He needed that overtake done. Now with HRT on form today, with Lynn in 6th and Yellowly in 7th. If they were to get a good haul of points today with that, they will go on to 59 points, which will move them in front of Onyx and Prost. And move them further away from relegation trouble. It really is looking like 3 from 4 in the relegation battle as Nick de Vries comes in from the race lead, which will allow Da Costa to go through at the head of the pack. Lopez is also coming in from 3rd position. I think de Vries and Lopez are doing 2 stops here, because they've only done 11 laps, and if they were to go to the end of the race, they would need to do 23, and it's a long circuit is this configuration of Hockenheim. Ward goes through into 2nd position. Buemi will also go through. Lynn, I think, will go through on de Vries, albeit temporarily, because I think de Vries will get into the slipstream of the HRT and go back through again. But there is Buemi. De Vries is rejoining 5th, Lopez in 8th. Although De Vries is now through on Lopez for the time being. Now Wittmann is behind Nissani in the battle for 16th place. Minardi have done well to keep both their cars in the race so far. As we see Lopez make a move on De Resta round the outside, side by side they go. Lopez has his nose in front and he's through on De Resta, no problem. But De Resta isn't giving it up, and there was a bit of a daft attempt of an overtake there from De Resta because the move was already done. And now he's going to be under threat from the Prost of Jean-Eric Verne. Now Verne is looking to make his way through on the Super Aguri. And the move is completed before the Clark curve. But De Resta isn't giving it up. Now Antonio Felix da Costa, who won last season's League 1 Hockenheim Grand Prix, is in the lead, but is still yet to make a pit stop. Now De Vries is through on Lynn on track. As we watch back from one of the Super Aguris, which I believe that has to be Paul de Resta, because that's Felipe Nasr in the Midland behind him. And there's Buemi in 3rd position, just in front of De Vries. Now De Vries is making a 2-stop strategy here. He has got to make the most out of this second stint. He's got to maximise the second stint. Now there is Buemi. He's behind O'Ward in P2 in your picture. Doing a cracking job so far. His teammate Adrian Quay-Fobbs is at the back after needing to pit for repairs on lap 1. So far, so good for Minardi. And Da Costa is coming around the Sats curve now. As we watch Sebastian Bourdais, who's in 12th position. And De Vries is stopped behind Buemi in the battle for 3rd place on track. We want to get by him very, very quickly. He seems to be stopped behind him is the Dutchman. Buemi, O'Ward in P2. Buemi, De Vries, dicing it out. And De Vries on the inside of Buemi. Does he get the move done? He goes for it. And where's Buemi? Gets the car slowed down in time. And De Vries had to slow down as well. He's going to get through. We want to look out for Alex Lynn. He'll get into the slipstream of the Leighton and go through at the same time. Buemi trying to stay in the slipstream there and get back through on De Vries. Is he able to do it though? No, he can't. And all that dicing has allowed the HRTs to close back in again. There is Lynn. on the inside of Sebastian Buemi, and the move is going to be completed before the corner. And that is Lynn through into 4th position on track. Now, De Vries has got 7 seconds to make up on O'Ward, who seems to be going on the one stop here. On lap 14, Da Costa is coming round to complete another lap. Is he staying out there, or is he coming into the pits at the end of this lap? We'll find out in a moment. He's in now, is Da Costa. Don't know for certain whether he's doing the one stop or whether he's going to the end. De Vries will come around to take... Well, he'll go ahead of Da Costa. Pato O'Ward is into the lead on track. And also into the pits is Nick Yellerly for HRT, I believe. Or is that Sebastian Buemi? I think Sebastian Buemi who's come in. Buemi in the sole surviving Leighton House. He's come into the pits. Where will Da Costa feed back out? He's out in 6th place, Antonio Felix Da Costa. He isn't too far behind Browning, I would have thought. We'll find out what the gaps are when they cross over the set times. I think Da Costa has got, well, he's got a couple of seconds to make up on Browning. So he might have a little bit of traffic to deal with before he has to think about De Vries. And so Colton Herter is into the pits for the 2nd time. And he'll go down a lap once he comes out of the pit lane, I would have thought. And we'll see De Vries as Adrian Quaid-Hobbs, who's been at the back since the start, is going to be pulling to the side in the arrows. And it's a front left suspension failure for the Brit. So another driver pulls out of this race. And Alex Lynn is in front of Nick Yellerly because Yellerly has come into the pits from 3rd position. That's one less car for Antonio Felix Da Costa to worry about. But there's Browning behind Lynn, and Da Costa isn't too far behind either. Now Browning won't be close enough to have a go. He's too far back anyway. So they come out of the Clark curve as we watch Alex Palou, who has a 30-second time penalty hanging over him. Wittmann comes into the pits. Lynn in P3. Nassani behind. Marco Wittmann has just come out of the pits ahead of him. Is Nassani going to pull off an overtake? Not on this occasion. They both go through the Clark curve together. So Wittmann, I think, was able to complete an overcut on Nassani on this occasion. And there's Nick Yellow behind Jehan Duravala. He goes through. Behind Duravala will be Giovinazzi, who had to pit in for a new front wing at the beginning of this race, or earlier on in the event. Lynn comes into the pits, as does Browning, so that releases Da Costa, who goes up into 3rd place. He is now 11 seconds behind De Vries, who's continuing to close in on Pato O'Ward. I think both De Vries and Da Costa may be on the 2 stop, and O'Ward is on the 1. There's Nassani still dicing it out with Wittmann for 19th. Nick Yellerly behind Luke, who has recently been into the pits. He's got Luke Browning behind him. Now Luke Browning's trying to get through one ahead of him into the Clark curve, but to no avail, stays behind. As we see Herzig being lapped by Nick de Vries. So de Vries still closing in on O'Ward, who's yet to pit. O'Ward, who's yet to stop in this race, is in now. He did have a lap left on his fuel gauge, but he decided that now is the time to pit. As we see Luke Browning getting through on Antonio Giovinazzi into 8th position. And Len will be following suit in a moment. DaCosta goes into 2nd place with Lopez 3rd. Paul di Resta is still yet to stop in this event so far. Don't think he is going to be pitting. Is he pitting this lap, or is he going to be staying out there for another tour? He's coming in, is di Resta. O'Ward rejoins in 4th position, ahead of Buemi, Yellerly, Browning, and Alex Lynn, who's stopped behind Antonio Giovinazzi. So we've got 4 drivers in the pits there: di Resta, Giovinazzi, Duravala, and Arianto. Make that 5 because Alex Palou is in. So Jean-Luc Verne will go up into the points. He's in 9th position now. And there is Antonio Felix da Costa, 12 seconds behind de Vries, who's continuing out in front. Lopez on course for a podium in 3rd place as it stands after Scott Dixon's shock exit. And Pato O'Ward is 12 seconds behind him. He will be going to the end of the race, Will O'Ward, but the problem is, if he was to battle for the win, he would need to start making the most of his fresh set of tyres, and once de Vries and da Costa have pitted in for their 3rd set, they'll be on... Well, they're going to be in quicker cars to what O'Ward will be in when they pit. But even so, O'Ward is in an Arrows that is nowhere near as quick as the Minardis are. So Nick Yellerly is the highest of the Brits in 6th, Brown in 7th, Lynn 8th, and di Resta in 10th. As we watch Lopez running P3 as Giovinazzi. Almost looking like he's about to put a wheel into the gravel trap at the Git corner. Towards the back is Giovinazzi after making a 2nd pit stop. And he's ahead of Wittmann. I think he's been overtaken by Nissany earlier, shortly after the stops. We watch Lopez in P3, still chasing after Antonio Felix da Costa for 2nd. It's been a stunning performance here from Lopez as he looks to close in. As we see Nissany and Wittmann going to combat. And Wittmann is up the inside, and he's due on Nissany. We're now looking at Rio Haryanto in the Midland, who is not having a good day so far by the looks of it. His teammate is up higher. He's not looking like he's going to be picking up any points. It doesn't look like either BAR, AGS, Midland or 40 are going to be picking up anything in this round. The closest is Felipe Nasser in 11th place. So if someone drops out ahead of him, that'd be enough to move him up into the points. Midland, who have scored points in the last 2 rounds. They're on 14 points and 9 points from safety. It is really looking like 3 from 4, isn't it? With the championship table as it is. Now Bourdais, who's running in P12. He's got through on Nasser, no problem. You can just tell by the power difference between the Onyx and the Midland. De Vries is 13 seconds ahead of Da Costa. Now, if he is going to be pitting again, De Vries, what lap is he going to be doing his second stop? And Nasser's got back through on Bourdais for your information. Let's see if he isn't too far behind those two either. And Bourdais coming back again on Nasser, approaching the Clark curve. Bourdais is through, but Nasser isn't giving this one up by any means. Nasser up the inside of Bourdais, but there's not enough room to get both cars in there at the same time. So Nasser has to back out of it, wait for another opportunity. There's Jean-Luc Verne running in a strong 9th position. Prost looking good for another couple of points here today. They've been in the points in the last 3 rounds. Today, as it stands, will make it 4. He's got Paul de Resta behind him. Has the Frenchman. Oh, and that's Nissany, who has picked up a gearbox problem. But he's also lost the front left wheel as he pulled off the circuit. I'm not exactly sure what's happened there for... Oh, and he got it all horribly wrong. I think he tried to get into the pit lane, did Nissany, but completely overdid it. So that's another retirement for 40. I'd have thought he'd maybe try and get into the pit lane there, did Nissany, but no, just wouldn't turn in time. So Nissany becomes the 6th driver to retire from this race. And I highly doubt they're going to be picking up a point today. They haven't done since the opening round in Malaysia of Dave Goddard's team. De Vries is in the lead still, 14 seconds clear of Antonio Felix da Costa. Nick Yellowly in a really strong 6th position ahead of Luke Browning and Alex Lynn. And there's Antonio Felix da Costa trying to put a lap on Colton Herter, who's down in 20th and last place. Behind Herter will be Jose Maria Lopez on track, who will also be looking to put a lap on him. Oh, and that's the problem! That's Nick De Vries! The engine has gone on the Minardi! All of a sudden! And once again, Minardi are not going to get either one of the cars to the checkered flag. Nick De Vries retires from the Hockenheim Grand Prix on lap 22, 15 seconds in the lead. Now, I want to say that it's a shock, but given Minardi's reliability woes this season, it has come back to haunt them once again here in Germany. Now, Nick De Vries will want to be pulling into the pits here, but the engine has died anyway. It's all over for Nick De Vries. And could that spell the end of his title challenge now? He's going to be pulling off the track any moment here. What must Giacomo Pagliaro be thinking here? And Da Costa will go into the lead. But But he's also got an engine problem. But both of the Minardis are out of this. I cannot believe what I'm seeing in front of me here. Both of the Minardis are put in smoke and out of the race. And into the lead goes Jose Maria Lopez for Manor. Oh my goodness me. De Vries going out with an engine problem. And just as we thought Da Costa were going to go into the lead, his engine has also gone belly up. What a disaster for Giacomo Pagliaro yet again here. On a day when they look good for maximum points, virtually nothing is going to be coming their way. Not good for them. So we've lost both of the Minardis, we've lost one of the Leighton Houses, and we've lost one of the Simtex. So the only cars out of those top three teams left in the race are Sebastian Buemi in third and Luke Browning in fifth. But Jose Maria Lopez on debut in the Manor is into the lead of the League One Hockenheim Grand Prix. Now only once this season has a team other than Minardi, Simtek. Well, I say that, Lopez is into the pits for his second stop of the race. So Pato O'Ward is going to take the lead of the League One Hockenheim Grand Prix. We're going to be in for a nail-biting finish here because O'Ward pitted in around about 6 laps ago for tyres. He's going to the end of the race. Lopez has come into the pits. He's going on fresh tyres as well. A nail-biting finish to the race. Now, Pato O'Ward is the only driver from outside the top 3 teams this season to have won a race in League One this season. Now, Sebastian Buemi will go up into second place. And I think Jose Maria Lopez will rejoin in front of Nick Yellowly in third. But there is Pato O'Ward in the race lead now. Can he get his second win of the season? If he was to get the 25 points, he will go up into second place in the championship on 87 championship points. 39 behind Scott Dixon, who isn't going to be scoring today. Now, Lopez is 17 seconds off the lead, so he needs to get the hammer down. He's only got 11 laps to catch Pato O'Ward. The first car in front of him, though, he needs to get through is Sebastian Buemi. In terms of those moving up the order, Nick Yellowly is 4th, Luke Browning 5th in the Simsec, Alex Lynn is 6th in the second HRT, Jean-Luc Verne is 7th for Prost, Paul di Resta 8th for Super Aguri, Sebastian Bourdais is 9th for Onyx, and in 10th position is the BAR of Nicholas Latifi. Now that is an important one for BAR, because if Latifi can stay in the points, then they can move a point clear of AGS who are in the drop zone. But behind Latifi is the Midland of Felipe Nasser. There's Lopez, not too far behind Buemi now. Needs to get the hammer down here. But it's not over yet in this race. 10 laps to go, and a lot can still change. And there is Giovinazzi fighting it out with Marco Wittmann for 13th position. And it looks like we've had a change of position because Alex Lynn is through on Luke Browning and has got up into 5th place. Browning is down to 6th. But is he fighting back on the HRT? Or is it game over on that battle? Now we'll find out when they next go through the sectors. I think Luke Browning is still behind Lynn, so unbelievable to see both Minardis go out at the same time. 1.1 seconds the gap between Buemi and Lopez in the fight for second. Still seeing Giovinazzi having a go on Wittmann into the centre curve, but that move isn't going to come off, unfortunately, for the Italian. And now we've got Lopez, who's right behind Buemi now in the fight for second place on lap 26. Into the slipstream goes the Argentine, up the inside, and I don't think this is even going to be a contest. Lopez is through on Sebastian Buemi, and he goes back through into second place with 9 laps remaining. He's got 15 seconds to make up on Pato O'Ward ahead. This is going to be a nail-biting finish to the race here in Hockenheim. I mean, Buemi's trying to get back through on the manor, and I think he's going to. Buemi gets back through on Lopez, and this is costing Lopez even more time. Lopez sits behind the Leighton House as they go through the sweeping right-hander after the S-curve. But Lopez is on the inside here, should get back through here, I think. And he is through, no problem, and he should pull away from Buemi from here. He lost a bit of time battling with him there, did Lopez, but hopefully that won't cost him too much. Now his focus is going to be on Pato O'Ward. Now, Mana's last victory came at Laguna Seca in Season 2 when Roman Grosjean won out in the end for Sam Hall's team. As we watch Pato O'Ward riding on the nose of the arrows. And we see Lopez pulling away from Buemi now. Nick Yellerly and Alex Lynn looking good for 4th and 5th. Luke Browning on debut is in 6th place in the Simtech. Sean O'Fern continuing Prost's improved form. Borday will pick up a couple of points for Onyx as well. So it looks like Prost will move on to 56 points. Onyx will go on to 51. And HRT will leapfrog the pair of them. With Yellerly in 4th and Lynn in 5th. They'll get 22 points for that. They'll go on to 67. And now we see Lopez is continuing to get down the gap. It's now 14.5 seconds by set 2 on this lap alone. There are 7 laps to go after this one. So Lopez needs to take an average of 2 seconds a lap out of O'Ward's lead, which I think is going to be too much of a tall order even on this circuit. So O'Ward completes lap 27. 7 laps remaining. Will we get another twist? As O'Ward puts a lap on Colton Herta. As we watch Palou slow to a halt here in the AGS further up front. He had a time penalty coming his way anyway. But he's got also that back of the grid shot to serve in Panonia. Palou retires from 17th position. The only car behind him was his teammate Colton Herta, but it's going to be no points again here for AGS. And it's a rear suspension failure for the Spaniard. So Palou is out. I want to go have a look to see if there's any battles happening on circuit. Well, the gap is still 13.8 seconds between O'Ward and Lopez. I wonder what the gap is now. I wonder if that gap will come down by at least half a second in sector 2 alone. And the answer to that question is only a couple of tenths. So Lopez isn't gaining enough on O'Ward in comparison to what he needs to get the gap, to what he needs to be taking out on him. Wittmann and Giovinazzi going toe-to-toe into the S-curve, and Giovinazzi is through on Wittmann. And that's 13th place going in the way of the Italian driver. If the positions were to remain as they are, in the battle for 4th place in the Teams Championship between Mana and Arrows, Arrows will be collecting 25 points. Manor will be getting 18. And I think Arrows will move in front of Manor by a single point. The good news is that although they'll close in on Minardi, we're only going to get 2 points out of this. Leighton House, who have got Bohemia in 3rd place. Browning will only get 8 points for finishing 6th. Bohemia will get 15. And what was a 9-point gap at the beginning today, that gap is going to be down to just 2 points in the team's championship between Simsek and Leighton House. Now that could change. Oh, and that's Bohemia on fire from 3rd place. That's the second Leighton House out. Contrast to last season, where Leighton House did so well in League 2 on this track. Bohemia's engine goes up in smoke. Will Power retired after crashing out at the beginning of lap 2. So they are not going to be closing down the gap to Simtek in the standings. So the only driver from the top 3 teams still left in this race is Luke Browning. And he's in 5th position. Verne goes up to 6th. Di Resta goes up to 7th. Bourdais, Latifi and Nasser move up positions in the points. So we've just seen the rest of the drivers move up the order here. And there's Harrianza going up into 15th place. The only car behind Harrianza now is Colton Herter, and he's in 16th and a lap down. Got 5 laps remaining, but the gap between O'Ward and Lopez is 12 seconds. There's no way Lopez is closing down O'Ward from here unless something goes horribly wrong for the Arrows team here. And Nick Yellerly up into 3rd place in only his 2nd race in the Grand Prix World Series. He's on course for a podium, which will be phenomenally incredible. But there's still time left in the race to change things. 10 retirements in this race now. Sebastian Buemi, who we've just lost. Alex Palou also retired. We've lost Nick De Vries, Antonio Felix da Costa, Roy Nassani, Will Power, Scott Dixon, Roman Grosjean, who we lost at the start. And we also lost Antonio Froco and Adrian Quaife Hobbs. So 16 still left in the race now with less than 5 laps to go in this League 1 Hockenheim Grand Prix. And it's looking very, very good for Arrows, who are going to get their 2nd win in 3 races. As for Manor, they're going to be returning to the podium. This will be their best result of the season, with Jose Maria Lopez getting 2nd place in his first Grand Prix World Series race back after doing the whole of last season for the Eurobron team in League 2. But in League 1, he's put on a stellar performance, as has Nick Yellerly. And Luke Browning, on debut, has done a terrific job in 5th place in the Simtek. Well drive also from Jean-Luc Verne to get his Prost into 6th position. And Felipe Nasser on course for another point for Midland in 10th. Got 11 seconds of a gap between O'Ward and Lopez. Lopez is closing down the gap, but he's not closing it down enough. And the closest battle we've got on circuit is between Robin Frines and Antonio Giovinazzi for 11th place. He's looking to get back into the points. He had to have that front wing replacement in the early stages. There he is. Look, we are joining the battle now. Wittmann is waiting to pounce should there be an opportunity for him. But there is Giovinazzi following Frines through the right-hander. board with Nick Yellowly. Alex Lynn. Browning also. Got Shonen Vern in 6th place out of Duresta, Bourdais, Latifi and Nazar. There's Lopez in 2nd position. As we see Luke Browning in 5th place. We're hoping to get to the end of the race now. Simtek in need of these points. I want to go to the battle between Frines and Giovinazzi because that battle is clearly hotting up, and Giovinazzi is through on Frines and into 11th position. The next man ahead of him is Felipe Nazar in the middle and in 10th. And that'll be an important point for BAR should they get it, but Midland will want to do the best they can, as Frines is slow in there. It looks like he's carrying an issue there, as Wittmann looks to have got through there a little too easily, unless I'm mistaken. Coming out of the S-curve now, Wittmann is doing into 12th place, and Frines will be looking to fight back from there. Well, I wonder if he's carrying a problem, is Frines, because he's not going round as quick as I thought he would be. Nick Yellowly, 3rd place in the HRT. It'll be 27 championship points going in the way of this team. This will be their best result in League 1 since they came up from League 2 last season. As we see Frines getting through on, trying to get through on Wittmann, but Wittmann has closed the door and Frines is seeming to get back through on this occasion. HRT will move on to 72 points as it stands. They'll just be short of Super Aguri, but they'll move ahead of Onyx and Prost. 2 laps to go then. O'War's lead over Lopez is just under 10 seconds. We've got Nick Yellowly and Alex Lynn in 3rd and 4th. What a result this will be for John Munro, the team manager of HRT. We've got Luke Browning in 5th, Shonik Vern in the Prost in 6th, Paul Duresta in the Super Aguri in 7th. We've got Bourdais in the Onyx in 8th, Latifi in the BAR in 9th, and Nazar in the Midland in 10th. And Pato Award is about to start the final lap now. Jose Maria Lopez still catching him. Comes over the line then, does Lopez. As we see Luke Browning come to a slowdown, and it looks like he's going to be out of the race as well. So all 6 drivers from the top 3 teams are not going to be making it to the checker flag. Luke Browning's 5th place is down the drain. Scott Woodward is going to be coming out of this with no points at all. That promotes Shonik Vern up to 5th, Paul Duresta to 6th, Bourdais, Latifi, Nazar and Giovinazzi are going to roll B in the points. Nick Yellowly in 3rd place. He'll hope to just get to the checker flag now. He'll be happy that this will be the last lap. We want to go to Pato Ward, who's going to be taking his 2nd Grand Prix World Series victory. It's the 2nd also this season for Topher Smith and for the Arrows squad. Here is Pato Ward, 9 seconds clear of Jose Maria Lopez, who's just going through the Senna chicane now, the Senna curve that is. He's not going to have enough time to catch O'Ward now. What a drive from Pato O'Ward, made the strategy work. The one stop was the way to go here in Hockenheim. He's coming through the chicane and he's got 2 more corners to get through. And the Arrows team will be on the pit wall in delight to see their Mexican driver take the checker flag first. Pato O'Ward wins the League 1 Hockenheim Grand Prix. A phenomenal drive, and that throws him into championship contention. But we've had drama on the last lap as Felipe Nazar in the Midland has retired from 9th place. That's 2 points down the drain for Alex Johnston's Midland team when they needed it so much. Jose Maria Lopez comes home in second place on his League One debut. But we'll go to Nick Yellerly in his second Grand Prix World Series race. He bags a podium finish with his teammate Alex Lynn in 4th position. Further back, another 15 seconds behind, is Jean-Luc Verne in 5th place in the Pros. That'll do nicely for the team. Then we've got Paul di Resta in 6th on his return after serving a race ban. And behind him will be Sebastian Bourdais, Nicholas Latifi, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Marco Wittmann in the second Pros is going to take the final point. Robin Fines will be 11th out of Jay Anduravala and Rio Haryanto, the last drivers on the lead lap. But what a disastrous moment for Felipe Nasr. They needed those points to help Midland's cause of survival, but they'll have to fight for points on another day. Duravala 12th, Haryanto 13th. But there is your race winner. It is Pato Award once again in the Arrows in Hockenheim in League One. Jose Maria Lopez second on his return to the Grand Prix World Series with Manor. Nick Yellerly in 3rd with Alex Lynn in 4th, 2 HRTs in the top 4. Jean-Luc Verne in 5th for Prost ahead of Paul di Resta in the Super Aguri with Sebastian Bourdais, Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi in the top 9, both BIRs in the points. Marco Wittmann in the second Prost taking the final point. Robin Fines in 11th, followed by Jay Anduravala, Rio Haryanto in 13th. Felipe Nasr classified in 14th. It should have been 9th for him, but 14th will have to do. Colton Herter and Luke Browning, who also retired on the penultimate lap, no points for them. Sebastian Buemi didn't finish, neither did Alex Palou. Nick De Vries and Antonio Felix da Costa, both of the Minardis who were 1 and 2, retired at the same time with engine problems. Roy Nassani also out, along with Adrian Quave Hobbs, Antonio Froco, Scott Dixon, who crashed out in the early stages, as did Will Power, and Remo Grosjean crashed out at the start after making contact with Alex Lynn. Nick De Vries got the points for fastest lap and for pole position. Another dramatic race in Hockenheim. Minardi, Simtek and Leighton House. Neither of those 6 cars within those top 3 teams scoring points, except Minardi, who got the fastest lap and pole position points, of course. But in terms of making it to the checker flag, neither of those top 3 teams were able to do so. But what result for Manor, and more especially for Arrows? 2 wins out of 3 in the last 3, that is, for Pato Award. It's time to run down on the championship standings with Topher Smith, and I'll speak to you next time out in Pannonia in Hungary.
Well, if any of you were able to bet on that podium, I'd like you to give me the lottery numbers for next week, please. A second win of the season for Pato Award, ahead of a returning podium for Jose Maria Lopez, a fantastic job by the Argentine, and Nick Yellerly picking up his debut podium for the HRT team. Absolutely fantastic result for those 3 teams in what was a very attritional race. A lot of retirements there, including all 6 cars from the top 3 teams in this championship. That might well have turned the championship order upside down. Let's have a quick look at what the standings now are. Scott Dixon still leads the way on 126 points. And Pato Award's second win of the season has put him up to 2nd. Would not have expected that heading into the second half of the season. Award up there now fighting for the championship. But such has been the disparity in reliability that consistent point scoring for Arrows has allowed them to get Award up there. And De Vries really should have won the race again today, but is still on 82 points and needs to put some more points on the board in the remaining few races. Will Power down to 4th on 64 ahead of Roman Grosjean on 60. Antonio Felix da Costa is on 56 ahead of Sebastian Buemi on 52. Alex Lynn, a 4th place for him today, puts him up to 8th in the standings on 44 ahead of Paul di Resta and Helio Castroneves on 37 still. In the team standings, Simtek leads the way ahead of Leighton House and Minardi. No changes there, except for a couple of points scored by Minardi for the bonus points. Arrows move ahead of Manor by 1 point. That's going to be really close for 4th place between those 2. Super Gurion on 78 ahead of HRT on 72. Prost on 61 ahead of Onyx Grand Prix on 55 and BAR on 29. The bottom 3 teams at the moment who are being threatened with relegation to League 2. AGS on 23, Midland on 14 and 40 Corsi on 6 points. And it's going to take some sort of miracle for any of them to climb their way out of that relegation fight. But anything can happen in this Grand Prix World Series. That's why we love watching it so much. Well, it's been another exciting event for you all here today. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Tom Cairns once again for his commentary. And thank you to you all for tuning in once again. And we will see you next time for the Pannonia Grand Prix in Hungary. Until then, take care.